Hey, we dive into something really wild. We're talking AI, like really creative AI.
Yeah, it's not just about crunching numbers anymore. We're talking poems, paintings, even scientific discoveries. AI is getting seriously creative, and we're going to break it all down.
And to help us navigate this, we've got this research paper, Creativity in AI, Progresses and Challenges. Sounds kind of dense, right?
It is a bit, but don't worry, we'll make it fun. Promise.
Exactly. Think of this as your crash course in AI creativity without having to, like, go back to school or anything.
Exactly.
So this paper breaks it down into four main areas, kind of like a tasting menu for your brain.
Hmm.
First up is linguistic creativity. Basically how AI is using language in ways that are, well, kind of mind-blowing.
Right, because it's not just about writing grammatically correct sentences anymore. It's about metaphors, idioms, humor, all those things that make language interesting.
And that's where it gets tricky, right?
Totally. AI still struggles with the nuances of human language.
Yeah, like I saw this AI-generated poem once, and it described laughter as, get this, an embrace of the sun's atmosphere. I mean, creative,
Yeah.
sure, but also like, what?
Exactly. It's those moments when AI's creativity veers into the absurd that really highlight the gap between how AI and humans understand language.
Right, it reminds me of that classic example with the chocolate bunny. Like, we understand that it's not bunny made of chocolate on the inside, but a bunny shaped out of chocolate.
And those little subtleties, they really trip AI up.
So no robot Shakespeare anytime soon.
Well, not so fast. The paper actually talks about how AI can invent new words, and some of them are actually quite clever.
Whoa, really? So AI is expanding the dictionary now.
In a way, yeah, it's still early days, but it makes you wonder what AI will be capable of linguistically in the future.
Right, like is AI going to invent its own language someday? But okay, let's shift gears from language to something a bit more hands-on. Can AI think outside the box the way humans do? Can it solve problems in creative ways?
That's the million-dollar question, literally.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, for real. There's this visual IQ test, the ARC, which stands for Abstraction and Reasoning Corpus. It's designed to test AI's ability to solve problems that require abstract thinking.
Okay, so like visual puzzles and
Yeah,
stuff. Right.
and get this, even the most advanced AI systems are totally bombing it, like failing miserably.
Wow, this ARC test sounds intense.
It is, even for humans. Imagine, like, you're given a grid with colored squares, and you have to figure out the pattern and predict what the next grid in the sequence will look like. Humans can usually figure it out, even if it's complicated, but AI, not so much.
So it's like AI can write a poem but can't figure out a simple puzzle.
Kinda, yeah. The paper talks about how AI is really good at following rules and patterns, but when it comes to abstract thinking, it's still got a long way to go. Like, humans are good at seeing the bigger picture, even if it's a bit messy. AI wants everything to be neat and tidy, and the real world just isn't like that.
Makes sense. It's like you can teach an AI all the rules of grammar, but that doesn't mean it can write a compelling story.
Exactly. There's more to creativity than just following the rules.
Yeah.
There's this element of intuition, of making leaps of logic that AI just hasn't quite mastered yet.
Okay, but even if AI isn't winning any visual IQ contests soon, are there any areas of problem solving where it does excel?
Absolutely. It's not all doom and gloom for AI. The paper mentions that it's really good at things like analogies, especially those based on word associations.
So like hot is to cold as up is to down, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Exactly. AI excels at those sorts of tasks because they have clear relationships and rules. It doesn't require the same kind of out-of-the-box thinking that humans are good at.
Fascinating. Okay, so AI might be a little way off from solving those crazy visual puzzles, but it's got a handle on the more logical stuff.
Right. It's like AI is still learning the ropes when it comes to human-like thinking.
Speaking of things AI is learning, let's move on to something a little more visual AI art. I mean, it's everywhere these days.
It really is, and it's getting better all the time. But even though the results can be really impressive, there are still some telltale signs that give it away.
Okay, spill the tea. How can we spot an AI artist in the wild?
One of the biggest giveaways is how AI handles hands. Even in some of the most realistic-looking AI-generated images, the hands often look kind of bizarre, like the fingers might be bent at weird angles, or there might be too many or too few of them.
So if the hands look like they belong in a Picasso painting, it's probably AI.
Pretty much. It seems like AI hasn't quite figured out the whole opposable thumbs thing just yet.
What else? What other AI art secrets can you let us in on?
Another thing is abstract concepts. Like, AI can create a super realistic image of a cat or a car, no problem, but ask it to depict something like freedom or democracy, and things can get a little, well,
Interesting.
let's go with interesting. It's because abstract ideas don't really have a concrete visual representation. It's all open to interpretation, which is something humans are great at, but AI still struggles with.
That makes sense. Okay, so AI might not be winning any art prizes for its abstract expressionism anytime soon, but this whole thing raises another question. Who actually owns the rights to AI-generated art? Is it the programmer? The user? Nobody.
Yeah, that's a huge debate right now, and it gets to the heart of what we even consider authorship in the age of AI.
It's like, if I use an AI art generator to create something, did I really create it, or did the AI do all the work?
And to make things even more complicated, a lot of these AI systems are trained on massive data sets of existing artwork.
So is that a copyright violation? Like, is AI stealing from human artists to create its own work?
That's exactly what courts are trying to figure out. And it's not just limited to art. We're seeing this debate play out in music, literature, even code. These are big, thorny questions with no easy answers. And as AI gets more sophisticated, those questions are only going to get tougher.
It's a lot to wrap your head around. But it's definitely something we need to be thinking about as AI becomes more integrated into our lives.
Okay, so we've covered AI's creative potential in language, problem solving, and now art. But this paper also touches on something even more mind-blowing. AI scientists. Are we talking like robots in lab coats taking over the world?
Not quite robots in lab coats, but hey, give it time, right?
A little unnerving, but okay.
Yeah. But seriously, AI is already making waves in the world of scientific discovery. Like, imagine a system that can analyze mountains of data and pick out patterns that humans might miss, or even come up with new hypotheses. It's like having a superpowered research assistant working around the clock.
Okay, now that's just cool. But can you give us some real-world examples? How are these, like, AI scientists actually being used?
Oh, there are tons. For example, there's been some amazing work with AI discovering totally new equations that describe how things work in physics. Like the fundamental laws of the universe. That's huge.
No way. So AI is rewriting the textbooks now. Well, not quite yet, but it's definitely contributing. And it's not just physics. AI is being used to design new proteins, which could lead to all sorts of breakthroughs in medicine and materials science.
Okay, that's officially blown my mind. So we've gone from AI writing poems to, like, potentially curing diseases.
It's still early days, but the potential is definitely there. But like with any powerful technology, there are some ethical questions we need to consider.
Yeah, like, what happens if we start relying on AI too much for scientific discovery? Do we risk losing that human element, the intuition and creativity that leads to those really groundbreaking breakthroughs?
Exactly. And that's something the paper talks about too. It's about finding that balance. AI can be an incredible tool, but it's important to remember that it's just that, a tool. It's not here to replace human scientists altogether.
At least let's hope not. Those sci-fi movies about robots taking over are starting to feel a little too real.
I hear you. But for now, I think we can all breathe easy. The key is to approach all of this thoughtfully and ethically, making sure that AI is used for good.
Well said. And on that note, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. From writing poems to revolutionizing scientific research, AI creativity is definitely pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible.
Totally. And it makes you wonder, what's next?
Right. Like, what will AI be creating 5, 10, 20 years from now? It's both exciting and a little bit daunting.
Absolutely. It's a whole new world of possibilities, and we're just starting to explore it.
Exactly. So, to everyone listening, the next time you come across some AI-generated art, or you hear about AI making waves in the scientific community, take a moment to really appreciate just how far we've come and how much more there is to discover. Until next time, stay curious, friends.